for a good while here, and you know, I like to have these kind of like business kind of talks. And you know, there's a lot of guys out there right now, girls, guys, whatever. You know, job market's not really paying, especially you guys in the city. If you have a vehicle, you're one up. If you don't have a vehicle, you can still probably find enough people where, you know, if they have their own mowers and stuff like that. But if you have your own stuff, it's so much better. But you could probably just, like I say, start with a good pair of work gloves, eye protection, hearing protection, good work boots, and just knock door to door, make little cards like, hey, I do yard work so much per hour, maybe 25 an hour, whatever. It's like all the guys around here, they're all going up. Like they're not doing it for $20 an hour. Well, you can't. I mean, gas just went up 15 cents a liter. You know what I mean? You know, there's a 50-liter tank in this thing. You know what I mean? Like it just went up like so much. You know what I mean? And the point is that there's still people willing to pay to do that, especially the seniors and stuff like that. They're not really mobile. They can't really do the do, right? And anyway, long story short, if you can start with the small stuff, tree trimming stuff, small chainsaws, I can guarantee you, if you only buy one tool, whippersnipper. Just buy one good whippersnipper, doesn't matter what brand, whatever you like. I like the Stills, but, you know, whatever. The Huskies, they're smoother. They're a little smoother. But I find the Stills are a little more, you know, a little more engine-y. You know what I mean? Yeah, the Stills are always like, the best way I could, is like the Still is like the Hemi version of a Husky. You know what I mean? So it's a little rougher, but it's got more power and whatever. Typically, that I notice. The power to weights are always better on the Stills. Those little FS38s, get really good anti-vibration gloves with those. Don't use any gas-powered power tool without good vibration reduction. Like even these cheap, like $5 gloves or $3 gloves, or whatever they are. They got that little rubber on there, and I tell you, you laugh, but I tell you, your hands will not be sore and buzzing, because there was one job where my thumb came through the glove with a whippersnipper, and just the way I was holding the friggin' whippersnipper, my thumb was numb right here for 2 months. That's nerve damage, guys. It's now fine, but $5, you know. And these things breathe on the top. These are soaking wet right now because of the garden box. And then you can get yourself some good leather gloves, but they're a little bit hot, you know, in the summertime. So there's things you can do to get going. And like I say, you could make a career out of just whippersnipping. I'm telling you. It's a hateful job, it is, but it's not that bad. It's just you always smell like two-stroke oil and gas oil mix and grass clippings. So as long as you can tolerate that, everything else is good. Get yourself a harness for the whippersnipper. Make life easy for you. I'm telling you guys, like there's easier ways to make money, sure, but there is a lot of money to be made in lawn care and tree trimming. Definitely the tree trimming, pruning service, anything to do with horticulture. Girl right there, she's flowers. This girl can grow anything, and botanist, right? So there's big money there, but the botany stuff is hard work. I'd rather work the whippersnipper because I don't have to bend over as much. Yard work, garden, like flowers, botany stuff, you're always like hunched over, pulling weeds out and stuff like that. Doing driveways with blow torches, you know, cleaning out the weeds that way. You could charge $35 an hour to do that, you know, plus the cost of the propane. You know what I mean? You could, there's a lot of tools you can get. And as I get more tools, one tool I want to get, you see how this tree is, how low the branches are? Like a lot of trees like this are usually on around cottages and stuff like that. And you see all those low branches? Well, you got all that tree there. Big monster of a tree. It's over 100 feet tall for sure. But you get a tree like that, and the window is pretty much eye level with the biggest branch, right? And there's this thing, I call it a yari. It's like a Japanese yari, like that's kind of like a sword on the end of a spear handle. They called it a yari. That's what I call it, but they're just a branch trimmer. You can go get a mechanical one, like a hand one. Yeah, very labor intensive, sitting there sawing away on things that are 15 feet in the air, but you just extend it out. I use it, and you can make a killing just cutting branches with that. Still has one. The motor is the FS38, and you can extend it, I think, 10, 12 feet. So it's like whatever it is, and you can just trim off low-level branches, $35 an hour. No climbing on. Maybe you might have to get a little ladder, a step ladder, or whatever, or something at that point, and just prune trees. Nice light tool. Use it all day. Prune trees, a couple $100 per tree, that kind of thing. There is money to be made. Pricing is always the trickiest thing to figure out. What I would do at first is just get paid by the hour, no matter what it is you're doing, with a chainsaw, whippersnippering, lawn mowing, whatever. Figure out what it costs to run that stuff and how long it take. Like, how long does it take to do a tree like that by yourself? Like 2 weeks, a month. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you just can't get the client, the other. Like Paul and I, there's a lot more work we would probably take on if we could get a third guy. But almost every guy we think of, they're great workers when they show up. You know what I mean? Oh, they're drunk all the time, they're stoned all the time. They're not really, the type of guy that throws their cigarette butts on the lawn, smoking while they're smoking either joints or smoking cigarettes while they're working. On other people's property. I'm like, you can't do that. You know what I mean? I know there's guys that do it, but you're just hurting your reputation is your number one tool, your number one asset. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. I just got on the rant, and I am kind of excited for the season, so I'm hoping everything will go well. I'll keep you guys updated about Tree Kong. Hopefully by Monday I know what the status is, whether I'm going to be getting paid out or another, because if we agree on the Tree Kong, I got 11 more hours to put in, which I know I'm probably going to do at least 5 hours filling up that. It took me 9 hours. I thought it was going to take me 10, but it took me 9 hours to empty the garden bed because we're putting new soil. We'll take out about half of it and put new stuff in. So when the new topsoil gets there, it'll probably take me about 4 or 5 hours just to reload it. You know what I mean? Whatever it's going to be. So right there, if I have 11 hours, I'd only have maybe about 6 hours left, which, like 1 or 2 days and if I do the little trees, the side hill there, do the brushing on the side hill, which maybe I do that next week, the week after, whatever it is, that might suck up all the the $400 value of labor would be paid for. So when they come up, here's your saw. Okay, keep this cash on hand that you were going to pay me. I'll take the saw for a week or two and find out, and if the saw is good for a week or two, you just keep that $400 and I'll keep the saw. So again, that saw is worth the gamble. At $400, it's worth the gamble, but it has to run perfectly. If it's one of those saws that runs good, but it's going to need this and it's going to need that, like when I looked it over the first time, it didn't look like it needed anything, right? But I couldn't do a compression check on it or whatever. But just by pulling it without the 72cc saw, trying to pull those suckers without the decompressor on, you'll know if it has good compression or not. Your shoulder will tell you, right? And anyway, we'll see how that one works out, because that one could probably pay itself off in the first week I get it. You know what I mean? It will earn it. Chainsaws earn a lot of money for me. That's why I'm trying to move more towards the tree trimming and the chainsaw stuff. Plus, I kind of enjoy it more than lawnmowers and all that. But I'm getting to the point where I think this is the year where I decide which way I go. Like, am I going to be a chainsaw guy or am I going to be a yard work guy? You got to wear a lot of hats up here. My uncle, he wants me to do some renos over at the Legion. And I'm like, I just can't get into that. Like, there's just it's just one of those things where, you know, if I throw away all the clients I've built up over the years, I mean, I got about 10 clients right now, and, you know, probably another 5 or 6 shared, you know, coming along. And if I do that, like,